Hey everyone, here I am with the November 2021 psychic prediction video finally. I'm a couple days late, but that's alright. So, I want to start off with addressing last month. I did say something that didn't turn out to be exactly the way that I thought. So, I said that that I saw Joe Biden happy and celebrating something about jobs coming back to the US, and so I said that I thought that there was going to be, like an improvement in the job outlook. So I ended up looking up some news halfway through the month, and I saw that there was a job report that came out, and so I was immediately like, "Oh wow, well, I called it." And then I read the article, and it was saying that he was celebrating a drop in unemployment even as the job growth weakens, which is confusing. But that's what Bloomberg News was saying, that he was celebrating the drop in unemployment even as job growth weakens. So it's a little kind of mixed messages there, but overall, the job situation was bad. So I did get that. I did kind of misinterpret that, I guess. Although he did say at his speech, he said, "Let me just repeat that, cough, cough. Today's report has unemployment rates down to 4.8%, a significant improvement from when I took office." So, there was a bit of him celebrating that. Um, he also said, or sorry, last month I also said that I saw, quote, news from the other side of the planet bothering Joe Biden, and the U.S. may have to pay for it financially. And of course, what came up was supply chain issues in the news. People are talking about there being food shortages in the future, and apparently, I just looked it up before I did this. Gas prices are going up. People um, are worried about the economy in general, and the and Joe Biden is having trouble passing the infrastructure bill and his Build Back Better bill as well. I do want to mention something really quick because somebody commented on one of my videos talking about how they believe Joe Biden is has died and been replaced by a fake actor, and I'm not trying to say this is or is not true. However, if you do believe that is the situation, then when I say Joe Biden, what I mean is the person in office, whoever that may technically be. It doesn't matter. What I'm talking about is the person in office going by the name of Joe Biden. So I also saw for last month. Lots of clearing out of energy, lots of endings, and I don't know about you, but I definitely know a lot of endings. What happened in my life? My neighbor moved. A lot of people I know got fired or quit their job or literally moved to a different country. So lots of endings taking place for last month. So, anyways, getting into November, just had to do a quick preview of last month. So November, what I'm getting for November is there's like this trapped feeling that's affecting people. People feel kind of socially stuck, kind of like zombie, kind of going with the flow, but not in the way that they want. And it's not that people are miserable, but there's this sense of kind of being a little bit miserable in that situation. And if you know anything about Chinese medicine, there's this concept of stagnation causing fire, the element of fire, not literally. And so that's kind of what was coming up for me, was there's this stagnation, and in Chinese medicine they say energy wants to flow, and so when it gets stuck it kind of builds up pressure and it creates like fire, friction. So that's kind of what I was getting, was that there's this fire being created for this month, for just people in general. And this is really flaring up, I guess you could say, or igniting create creativity, people's dreams, kind of like, you know, people's aspirations, people looking forward thinking, forward looking. Um, I was getting people's bodies kind of slowing down, and I don't mean like falling apart. I just mean like people's bodies kind of taking it easy, but the mind being super stimulated and super alert. Now, I'm also getting that there's this like angelic kind of energy coming to the earth and affecting the earth, and this is making people, you know, there's a sense of forgiveness that is allowing people to reach a higher state of consciousness, really, is what's going on here. And I know that sounds nice, and it is nice, but with that, you can also have chaos ensure. I've mentioned this before in my other videos, or a different video, how sometimes positive energy can have a crisis happen in the three-dimensional world, because it's you know, sometimes a crisis is a way to clear energy to get to the next step. Um, so this angelic energy coming to the planet is coming from outer space, similar to something I read back in, I think that was September, one of those months, a couple months ago or so, talking about how there's this kind of alien energy coming in and influencing the Earth. This is similar to that. It's creating a higher form of consciousness within the planet, and it's slowly shifting things around for the future. This will definitely be a turning point for new things to come. This is not so much like an event that's happening, but it's more so like the beginning of a new direction. So like nothing's necessarily like gonna explode and just something just like forces something to happen that's gonna be in the news necessarily, but it's more just the direction of where the world is headed is now kind of shifting, and people will be experiencing more of a heightened awareness along with this. You may find yourself daydreaming a lot and kind of, um, you know, coming to epiphanies and creating, manifesting your future. Um, but it's not like you're going to be like kind of out in the clouds. It's a very grounded, kind of focused, directed daydreaming of, how do I say this? You know, having epiphanies and forging ahead with your thoughts, and sometimes allowing yourself to open your mind to new possibilities. So there's going to be changes on the earth, uh, a new direction we're heading, which will be in a higher awareness, which will be positive in the long run, but it may cause chaos in the short term. So there will be cultural changes happening from now for the next, I mean, really more than the next 2 years, probably the next 3 years, 4 years, maybe reaching out to 5 years, but I don't see it going much further than 5 years before things kind of just normalize. But definitely the next 2 to 3 years, massive changes culturally, socially, economically, financially, um, and just our understanding of the universe as a whole, or perception of reality, will just kind of widen during this time span. So It's not so much like a sudden event that happens. It's more like a slow, energetic effect of people slowly waking up to this and turning their back on kind of like the old, outdated way of being and deciding to embrace something new. Although I did see an image when I was tuning into this vision of a bowling ball being rolled, knocking down some pins, and so that is kind of sudden, but it's not necessarily going to be like an earth-shattering event. But these pins that this bowling ball is knocking down represent the control of the earth, or the people or the beings and control of the earth. And this can be not just a material level, but also a spiritual level. And so this bowling ball, so I was asking, so what is this bowling ball that's knocking over these pins? And what I got was it's a very ancient energy, um, beings who have been connected with the earth. There's a very earthy vibe to them, although they're now somewhat disconnected from the earth. But they're coming back to take control of the earth again. And this is not so much that they're physically coming to Earth to take over the Earth. It's more of an energy, more of an energetic influence. Um, so this might be something that's not necessarily noticed by anyone. Although eventually the changes will become evident. In this shift, some people may get burned in this month, I should say. This is specifically for November. Some people will get burned, so to speak. These people will get burned because of being too heavily invested in kind of just the mechanistic, kind of old, outdated system, that the control system that is kind of eroding away. However, for a lot of people, there will be more wiggle room um, within the eroding controls put in place of the planet. And people will be waking up to new possibilities. I saw another image vision of a giant beating heart, and this heart kind of represented humanity, and it represented the power of the heart being able to take its power back within society, and society's disconnect from that no longer are having power over this heart. So there's also a dynamic between the inner child and hidden corruption specifically being highlighted, that dynamic. I saw another image of a butterfly, and this butterfly was flying up, and there's a gun trying to shoot it, but it just keeps missing. It keeps shooting, and just keeps shooting and keeps shooting, but all the shots just fly around the butterfly, and the butterfly doesn't even have to try to dodge it. It just naturally does, just naturally on its own. And it lands in a branch, and it's glowing, and there's the sunshine, and very positive. So I did get the sense, and this butterfly kind of represents humanity, people in general, the planet, and higher vibrations, people going after what they want and not being ashamed of things that may have held them back in the past. And I was specifically getting that this butterfly could have fallen out of fear and not risen up because um, because of the guns being shot at it, but it had this courage to just go. It had this compassion was the fuel. So courage really pays off, but I should really say the word compassion, because it's more about courage for the month of November being a great tool, but only if it's in alignment with forgiveness and compassion. And in that case, it's basically invincible. Well, I don't want to say invincible, but you get what I'm saying here. So, other things going on for the month of November. People will be able to see the hidden ugliness going on behind the scenes in the world more and more. People will be slowly waking up to that more and more. People's intuition will be increasing, and so people, specifically what I was getting was that people's intuition will be increasing in the specific way of being able to be more aware of events and faraway places, and just having some intuitive insight about that, or just like a gut feeling, I guess you could call it if you want. Other things going on, I saw bankers and like corrupt, um, elitists having trouble behind the scenes because of all these changes going on. Although to the public, though, there will be these like fake celebrations of unity and progress. When I tuned into Biden and the White House, I got that there's economic changes going on, not so much economic changes, more like spiritual changes going on in the world that are affecting kind of like the plan that's kind of like this strict, like this is the plan, this is how it's going to play out, but it's like things are kind of changing, and so this like narrow kind of plan isn't really working out quite as well, and he's a little bit disappointed. Although I see him also connecting with Kamala Harris and other people for support, and being able to really, have a public image in the public eye, regardless of all this going on behind the scenes. So someone commented on my last video about the 11th of this month, and I wanted to address that really quick. So they said that they just had a sense that the 11th may be a significant day for November, and it's funny because the day is, or the month is 11/11, and I had some synchronicity with the number 11 a bunch. Like I got something that was like 11/1, and I got it at 11:11 a.m. and it was just like a whole bunch of 11s. And so I don't normally notice these things, but just specifically leading up to this video, it's been a theme. And then he asked about that, and I found that very interesting. So when I tuned into the 11th of the month, what I got was people being kind of confused and waiting for something to happen. And this is relating to just like this kind of thick energy, like this charged energy. Um, Lots of activity energetically happening during that time. Although I don't see that I don't see this energy kind of reaching its conclusion. Like people are kind of waiting to kind of like figure out where this is heading, and I don't see it really heading anywhere or settling down to a conclusion until around the 23rd. And so I don't really know exactly what this is about, but that's what I was getting. So just like kind of like an electric charge in the air, so to speak, um, which could be related to the overall like, frequency increasing of the planet, and this kind of like angelic vibration that I'm seeing really coming in and changing the route of the future. Um, Speaking of which, I saw the consciousness shifting in the planet a lot during that time period of the 11th, but just in general, the first half of the month, there being like this kind of charge. And the second half of the month, a different type of energy came in, and the way I saw this energy, the best way I can describe it is kind of cold, if that makes any sense. It was kind of calm, quiet, and kind of heavy, and in the sense of an energetic influence. And it was almost like it was kind of sedating a little bit. Kind of like, I guess, winter type of vibes, you could say. But the first half of the month was different. Um, so regarding people and what's going on, people will be re-evaluating where they stand in November, in this month, uh, and people kind of rebirthing themselves, so to speak, slowly over time, not just like overnight, but like kind of rerouting, kind of rewiring their brains, so to speak, in different ways. I also saw this as an image of the planet as well, like almost like folding inside out is what it looked like, and like rebirthing itself. So exuberant lifestyles for November will be kind of becoming, well, settling down and becoming simplified, um, less exuberant. Business plans will be restructured to be more stable and basic. So I saw someone like on a cell phone, and they were talking to someone, and it was like they had some concerns about how complicated things were getting, and they wanted to kind of go over things again and just kind of make things more simplified and safer and just more basic and more grounded, I guess you could say, just to make things easier. Life plans, like future outlook, becoming more grounded. So when I tuned into what is November going to be bad for, things to avoid, I got being the shadow that no one sees. And I saw someone like as a shadow, like walking in a door. And it's a bad month to, you know, be that person who's kind of not seen, um, not, you know, vocal, I guess you could say, or hiding something. Don't be the shadow that no one's able to see. Another thing that's not good for the month is avoiding responsibility. Other things bad for the month is too much paperwork. I'm saying that being potentially just not good, not vibing with this month. So if you could maybe try and simplify things so you have less paperwork, or maybe try and, you know, do things ahead of time so it's not just like a giant pile of paperwork all at once. That might be good for you this month. Complexity can kind of get in the way of everything going on and the flow of the month, the energy of the month, everything that you can get out of all the positives of what this new energy is bringing in for you can be, you know, complicated with complicated things. So avoid complexity, if that makes any sense. Same goes with technical issues, things that are too technical. You want to be grounded with things. Another thing I saw, I know it's kind of a weird image, the way that I was seeing it, but it was like somebody swinging on a trapeze, and it was like they were trying to jump off the trapeze and land at a certain spot. They're trying to go over the other spot and make sure they landed past that spot. And it was about skipping steps and trying to wing it, and how you don't want to try and skip steps this month. It's not a good month. It's good to be grounded this month, in other words. So what is this month good for? And it's really got like this Taoist vibe, and the, if that makes any sense, like kind of going with the flow. Earlier I mentioned people being stuck in the flow, like in a flow they don't want to be in, but it's more like about being like open and kind of, you know, going with the flow of what's natural, I guess, not really pushing too hard, Just letting things be easy, and letting the universe just kind of guide you, or letting things just manifest. Things don't have to be hard, in other words. So that's a positive for this month. Being in communication with others for practical purposes is also an excellent idea. Um, I don't know why, but that was showing up for this month. Simplicity, of course, obviously, because it said complexity is not good, so obviously simplicity is good for this month. One thing that's kind of odd is I saw enjoying the outdoors with loved ones. It's kind of rainy and cold out, but regardless, that was coming up. I think maybe to kind of help you be grounded and, maybe for mental health. I don't know. But either way, I saw enjoying being in the outdoors with loved ones coming up as a good thing to do for this month. Taking a break from the norm, also a good decision. And this month is really all about connecting through the heart energy and connecting with people on a heart to heart level. Um, so those are all things to you know try to attract more of into your life for November. So November, just to kind of summarize and go over all of it, November is about the angelic vibrations that are kind of battling the earth corruption. In some sense, you could say it's kind of like good versus evil, except that it's not so much like good is fighting evil, it's more about overcoming the hardships rather than it is like battling each other. Um, However, unfortunately, I will say this: I do see people becoming divided. I saw a vision of the earth kind of cracking down the middle, being split in two, and this representing, the division, similar to 2020 with, political division. I mean, it seemed like every aspect of everything was divided. People fighting each other on one side or the other side. So I do see this happening due to this new energy update coming to Earth and changing the direction of things. It's going to cause a little bit of division again. However, I did see the very bottom of the Earth. It was like this little sliver where the two pieces connected, and that was because of forgiveness. And so there's a little bit more of this harmony that kind of neutralizes this battle energy, and allows things to be more harmonious. So I do see that as a positive improvement. So there will be division, but it won't be as bad as it was so much with you know coronavirus, Black Lives Matter time period when all that started. So angelic energy reshaping the earth. That's basically the theme for November 2021. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. I always appreciate that. And if you want to learn more about me, you can always check out my website, psychictie.yolasite.com. I'll leave the link to that below this video, and have a great day.